And now, introducing the hottest new tag team in podcasting, George Feast, Johnny Clash, the Game Marks.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast. My name is George Feast, and I, as always, am here with my tag team partner, independent wrestler Johnny Clash.
Hello!
Each week on this podcast, we break down the good, the bad, and the awesome of wrestling video games and offer up our rating of Play It Forever or Future Endeavor.
You're fired!
This week on the podcast, we are playing HammerLock Wrestling for the Super Nintendo, but before we get into that, a little follow-up from last week. How you doing, John?
I'm pretty good. You know, Christmas is this week. If you're listening on Monday, it's going to be in 3 days, so hope your wallets are okay, because mine's struggling a bit, but...
Mine's not okay.
Yeah, no. I'm just sad. Last week we played Backstage Assault with very good friend... I'm going to say best friend of the pod, the Abominable CPA.
Now known as Nick Stapp?
Nick Stapp in some promotions, still Tim Gange to some people.
But always CPA in our hearts.
Always CPA. Tremendous episode.
I don't think that I said that it was my favorite episode enough.
I don't think I've recovered, but tis the season.
It's definitely different than what we normally do, that's for sure.
Definitely different, but I think sometimes to give that different perspective and dynamic it's okay.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Let us know what you think. As always, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you enjoy the show. If you don't enjoy the show, 5 stars ain't the worst thing. Holiday season. Go ahead and give us a follow everywhere on social media at GameMarksPod.
All right, so what do you think about diving into some gaming news?
Last week, we saw the new Xbox Series X, and while it may look like a loaf of bread standing up, this next generation console packs a punch. The Series X aims to achieve 8K resolution or 4K at up to 120 frames per second. So while Sony is hyping up the PS5, the Xbox Series X is looking to compete next holiday season 2020. On the WWE 2K front, a new patch has been rolled out as of December 18th, fixing issues such as crashes due to running out of memory, forced signouts, showcase mode, and tower modes, as well as missing text from 2K originals and other game modes. The gameplay also got an overhaul with a ton of fixes such as animation, collisions, AI behavior, face paint, and match crashes. If only 2K can patch the memory of the fans who bought this game, because at this point, we would all like to forget. That's it for gaming news. Check back next week for more. So, in other gaming news, George, did you see the new PlayStation controller that came out?
Is it a new controller or is it like an add-on?
Accessory. And it's a controller accessory.
It's a
DualShock 4 back button attachment that comes out on January 23rd, and pre-orders have begun this week. So,
what's the price point for this?
It's $29.99 US and $39.99 Canada. Similar to SCUF controllers, I guess, without the paddles on the back. It's kind of got a sleeker looking button. It's got a little LED screen.
I mean, it definitely changes the landscape for, I guess, certain games, but Fortnite comes to mind because you can like quick build buttons, but I'm not really seeing much use in other games. Like, you can't map this in 2K. Like, what would be the point of this in 2K?
I mean, I guess if you want to move where the controls are, say... Okay, so actually in 2K, so as an example, they changed the reversal button to triangle in PlayStation. So I guess if you want that trigger back for reversals, you could set it to the back paddle.
Okay.
See, like I said to you before, I have no use for this. And I don't plan on getting it because it'll just confuse me even more. So,
yeah, I feel like sometimes, computer mice, like gaming mice, have also gone this way where like sometimes there's just buttons for the sake of buttons on things, and they're not necessarily like a functional. Argument could be made either way, but what do you think?
For you, pick it up. It's $30 is pretty inexpensive. So.
Yeah, I mean, even just to pick it up to try it, I may even still get it just to see if there is any benefit. It's a solid price point.
What do you say? From there, we get into our question of the week.
Clash, did you happen to see that new shirt that we released on GameMarksPod.com?
Of course I did, Georgie. I bought them for all of my Secret Santas.
Oh boy, and what a gift it was. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's available in men's, women's, kids, tank tops, long sleeve, and even sweatshirts.
All of that, plus, it was designed by me.
Oh god, I guess everyone needs their moment, and this will be yours, John. Head on over to GameMarksPod.com and get yours today. All right, so the question of the week is a weekly segment that we do here where we go back and forth. And 1 week, it is my turn to ask a question. And 1 week, it is John's turn to ask a question. And then we propose that question to you, the listeners. This week, it is my turn to ask a question. And we're just going to keep it short and simple. It is the holiday time of year. Everybody's got their go-to classic Christmas movie. John, I gotta know yours.
I wasn't expecting this, but I know my answer already. I have a two-part answer to this.
If it's easier, do you want to give me like your top three?
Not necessary. Not necessary. So, I think my top favorite Christmas movie of all time has to be the first Tim Allen Santa Claus, hands down.
Okay.
There's just something about, I think for me, I just remember back to watching it like when it first came out and getting it on like I still picture the VHS jacket and everything. That's just Christmas to me. And we actually watched it before Thanksgiving, so I think I'm due for another one before Christmas actually happens this week.
Okay.
But at the same time, I would consider this a Christmas movie. Some people don't. I get a lot of hate for this.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Are you going to say Die Hard?
It's not Die Hard, no.
It's not Die Hard.
It is Home Alone 3.
Wait a second.
This is...
Hold on. We're going to pause the podcast because I have to Google this because I didn't know that Home Alone 3 existed.
Are you kidding? Do you have Disney Plus?
I do.
Okay, watch it later. Everyone hates on it because it's not out. Because it's not Macaulay Culkin. It came out years after. It was a straight to VHS release.
Came out in 1997.
Me and my sister got this one year for Christmas as like a random gift from someone. We put it in our VHS player, and I don't think we ever took it out because we would watch it 3 times a week when we were little.
Scarlett Johansson's in it?
Yes, like a 14-year-old Scarlett Johansson.
What?
Watching it now, like we watched it a couple weeks ago, so watching it now, it's still amazing. I'm going to say it's still amazing. It's definitely not like the other Home Alones. It's got its own personal charm to it. So I wish it came out with a different title, even though it's the same concept.
Interesting.
And then I don't think it would have gotten as much hate as it still gets. And I know I'm going to get for saying this. But please watch Home Alone 3 and you let me know what you think.
And then also let us know what your favorite, number one all-time favorite Christmas movie, holiday movie is.
Die Hard doesn't count. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm not opening up that can of worms.
So, what about you?
It's a toss-up. I mean, the easy answer, the quick answer is Christmas Story. It's always on every year. It's like the staple in my childhood. But, I mean, there's also The Grinch is also always a really good one.
Which one, the cartoon one or the Jim Carrey one?
So, actually, I've always been a fan of the cartoon one, but last year, there was a new one that was released.
Oh, yeah.
By, oh my God, Illuminations. The people who did Despicable Me.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. Benedict
Cumberbatch is the Grinch. And it's actually pretty good. They expanded on the story, so like the original Grinch is only like a half hour long. This is like an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
Graphically, it's stunning. It's like it's beautiful. The story is great, the voice acting is great, and it just like kind of like revitalizes a old classic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I liked it.
So
I thought it was great.
So you know what movie I wish they would kind of revive and make a longer film and kind of do the same thing too is Rudolph.
Like original claymation Rudolph?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a classic.
One of my favorites, but I think
Year Without Santa Claus is also up there.
Yeah.
That's a good
There's
one.
a lot of them.
Yeah, it's almost too many to like have a favorite, but there's definitely like easy top 5, 10 lists.
Did you see last year on Netflix that came out, The Christmas Chronicles?
Yes. With,
that is a phenomenal movie. Yes. And I hear they're making a second one next year.
I actually had a conversation with a buddy of mine at work, and he said that he thinks that in like 10 to 15 years, people are going to look back at that the way that we look back at like Santa Claus and Christmas Story. Like, it's just like one of those timeless stories.
It was like a perfect Christmas movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Even though those elves were freaky.
Yeah.
But anyway, we digress. George, what do you say we get into the hashtag deep dive of HammerLock Wrestling?
I'm ready. This week, the deep dive is sponsored by VGF Gamers. VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One consoles and controllers. Check out their products at VGFgamers.com and use code GAMEMARKS to receive 15% off on your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers, better grips, better style. So HammerLock Wrestling, released in the USA October of 1994 and in Japan in September of 1994, published and developed by Jellico, which, if you ever played a Jellico game, you heard that in that voice. HammerLock Wrestling is a Super Nintendo wrestling game and features fictional professional wrestlers performing movesets similar to real-life pro wrestlers like Hulk Hogan and Lex Luger.
The game greatly emphasized the exciting TV spectacle of professional wrestling, dedicating parts of the screen to close-ups of moves and wrestlers. Pins especially will take over most of the screen, pushing the gameplay view to the sidelines.
In Japan, the game is known as Tenryu Genichiro on Pro Wrestling Revolution, Wrestle and Romance, and is a video game adaptation of The War, Wrestle and Romance, later renamed to Wrestling Association R, Japanese wrestling promotion, which was created by Genichiro Tenryu. For the US version, the various WAR wrestlers receive fictional names and minor cosmetic changes. So this was, like we said before, released for the Super Nintendo. And that Super Nintendo box is a very... What's the word? Is it like a staple in people's lives? Is it iconic? Like, is this when you... If I tell you to give me a box design... Do you go to Super Nintendo, or does your cartridge, like in your head, a cartridge is the original Nintendo cartridge?
Yeah, I'm going original Nintendo on this. You know what? The artwork, especially for this one, I think Super Nintendo artwork was just very busy. Like, that's when they started introducing more onto the actual, like, box for the game. So for HammerLock, if you look, it's just the logo in the middle. HammerLock Wrestling. Kind of looks like a Spider-Man Bonesaw logo. A little bit. But there's no, like, wrestler on the game. You know I'm a stickler for that. If it's a wrestling game, you want it to, like, people to know it's a wrestling game. On the right side, it says Nintendo. Then it says over 30 moves. Like, why not put that big on the cover? I mean, I guess I know what they're going for, which is like, oh, let's have our standalone logo on the cover. But if you don't know what a HammerLock is, are you going to pick this game up by just walking past it?
And it's not like the wrestling is like super pronounced. It's kind of small,
a little hard to read.
off to the side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is from the back of the HammerLock Wrestling box. Plug in HammerLock and get a look at in-your-face action-packed wrestling like you've never seen it before. Up close. How close? Jalico's exclusive ringside perspective brings the action right under your eyelids. In addition to the main screen, you also get 2 ringside screens. See your opponent's hand pull back for a punch so you can time your dodge perfectly. Then watch the close-up screen explode to twice its regular size as you grab his legs and throw him into a spine-splintering suplex. See it all like it's just inches away, closer than you've ever seen it before. 12 wrestlers and over 60 joint-wrenching moves. Up to 4 players can compete in a tag match at the same time. Tournament, tag team, and exhibition. Tournament, tag team, and exhibition matches for a wide variety of fun. Different arenas, out-of-the-ring fighting, referee calls, and all the other thrills of a real wrestling match. And you got some screenshots of the different features. And
it's exhibition fun.
Exhibition fun.
If you don't understand what they mean by like the up close and like the double screens and stuff, we were a little thrown off when we first saw it too. So your main game screen that you're used to seeing is in, I would guess, like a third of the screen in the middle. But then the top would be player 1, just an up close version of what they're doing. And the bottom would be a player 2 up close version of like them throwing the kick or the punch. So it's a little distracting at first, but I think you get used to it the more you play. And with like bigger moves, it also cuts to like the crowd and stuff. So I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to give it that like next generation type feel. Like for the games we have now, like with cutscenes and stuff. But I mean, it's Super Nintendo, so I get it, and I appreciate the effort.
I agree.
And like they said, the pins, the submissions, they take up the whole screen. Maybe like there's like a little crowd on the bottom chanting for you, but yeah.
You're absolutely right, though. The first time you play this, it is slightly jarring.
Yeah, I think we were both like, whoa, okay.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that at all.
You get used to it, though, and it gives it a cool dynamic.
Yeah. Now, for the roster, like we mentioned before, there are 12 fictional wrestlers, and they all compete in 4 modes. Movesets for this video game were inspired by Lex Luger, Hulk Hogan, Abdullah the Butcher, Road Warrior Hawk, Yokozuna, and Stan Hansen. There are 60 moves to choose from, as well as unique finishers for each wrestler. Now, do you want to flip a coin to see who does the roster?
I feel like you're just going to make me do it anyway because you make fun of the way I say Japanese names.
I mean, maybe I'll take this week so you can make fun of me?
All right, sure.
Okay. So you have Sam Warhammer, which is Hulk Hogan. You have Ivan Destra, which is Lex Luger. You have Mondo Fundi, which is Yokozuna. Baron Kaiser, which is Stan Hansen. You have Great Max, which is the Great Muda. Sid Bieniek is supposed to be Abdullah the Butcher.
Bieniek?
Bieniek. Bieniek?
Sure.
Oga Prime, which is Genichiro Tenryu. You have Alpha Bozak, which is Hawk. Selvis Taquito, which is Shinya Hashimoto. You have Spud Marmoset, which is Mitsuhara Misawa. Ace Wagata, which is Jumbo Tsuruta. And you have Mo Fudo, which is Kenji Muto.
All right, not bad. You did okay.
I think I'm all right.
It was only like 6 wrestlers that are even Japanese names, so whatever. It's fine.
All right. Well, just wait till we get to Fire Pro Worlds.
Oh, boy. So the exhibition modes. Exhibition. Up to 4 players compete in singles or tag matches. Top ranking match where the player faces 11 other wrestlers to become the champion. Tournament mode where a tournament of up to 8 players determine who the champion is. And champions match, which is up to 6 players compete in a round robin to determine a champion.
So this is one of those games, a classic Super Nintendo games, where you actually have some passwords to get you back to where you may have lost throughout your championship match.
Similar to like Punch-Out.
Yeah, so you can go through the, 12 rounds or 11 rounds of the title match, and every password begins with a Q and ends with a P. I'm just realizing that now. Weird. Okay. That's just like a weird thing. I don't know why. That's so strange to me. So should we read through these passwords, or do you think that it just...
No, we don't have to read through.
Okay. And,
QPHDPP. So think of that in different combinations, and those are your passwords.
Yeah. The real one that matters is you want QHKDQP. That takes you to the last round, so you just skip past everyone. That's where you want to go. Now, in terms of the reception for this game, I think this is your moment now, John. It's your time to shine. Take us through a little R&R.
All right, so actually there wasn't that much. I guess you notice with like a lot of the older games that, especially this one, wasn't primarily a US game. There's not that much to find. So what I got was GamePro described HammerLock Wrestling as an interesting but confusing SNES game. They commented that the division on the screen into 3 horizontal windows, while aesthetically appealing, makes it hard to stay focused on the action, as well as severely limiting the movements of the wrestlers. Do you agree with that?
I agree with the making it hard to stay focused because you don't necessarily know how the screen's going to jump. So, depending on who's executing the move, either the top drops down or the bottom raises up. And it's just like a little, I don't know, distracting?
Yeah, so while we were playing, we noticed that every move someone hit, the other person would also stay down and you both had to get up. I think that was put in place purposely so I guess it makes it more even when the screen comes back down. Like one guy's not just standing over them ready to do another move.
So like damage was done and then it's like kind of like a reset?
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to talk to a developer of this game, but I know that probably won't happen. And
never say never.
Never say never, but I would just want to hear like what their mindset was and what they expected. But honestly, to say that it's confusing and kind of like ruins the game, I don't think that's true because we got very used to it and we only played a few games. Like we didn't play hours worth of this and we were already used to it.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so the ratings. Most of these are like user ratings, like IGN user rating is a 2.41 out of 5. GameSpot user rating is a 2.6 out of 5. There's no ratings, there are no official ratings on IGN, GameSpot, or Metacritic, so all we have to go off of is what people think. So maybe we can get Game Mark's podcast has rated this also.
I'm lost. How are we gonna get by without Metacritic?
If Metacritic doesn't speak, I feel like we don't even have a podcast.
I feel like we need at least GameSpot, and we don't even have that.
All right, so you want me to bang through these fast facts, or you want to split them? There's only 3.
We'll split them.
All right,
you start.
So there was background music featured in the Japanese version, but the American version has no background music. And actually, it was pretty eerily quiet during the games, unless when you hit a move, the crowd just kind of went, ah, and that was it.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until right now, that there wasn't any background. I guess in my head, I just kept humming the title music. Now, if you're trying to find HammerLock Wrestling for yourself, prices a little varying on eBay. Some used games are $4.99. One version is listed for $74.99 with a manual, and the complete box set is available for $79.99.
The sold listings on eBay, however, are in the $9.99 range, with some hitting the 20s. So I think it's a little steep for the $74 and the $79.99s. I think they're just a little hopeful.
I mean, if it's box set, like pristine mint in the wrapper, then okay, that makes sense. But just because you have the original box, I mean...
Right.
All right, so we're getting into the ratings now. Our ratings. Johnny Clash. HammerLock Wrestling. Will you play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
Okay. I've been thinking about this. I think it's cool to see characters who are the likenesses of other wrestlers, like what's his name, like Warhammer as Hogan and all that. It was very like he wore the red and yellow, but he was only just a bald guy with a mustache. So Hogan's Hogan's there, but he's not there. I kind of like the parody.
Okay.
But playing the game, we never really talk about the Super Nintendo controller and how you could kind of finally start to see like the evolution of the controller. Like there's an L and an R, and there's 4 buttons on the right. I don't think all of that was utilized to the capacity it could have been. I think there could have been more like button combos and move combos, and like it was pretty hard to even get a grapple in on you. However, I do like the triple screen aspect. As weird as it is, there was something about it that I did like. But the gameplay itself, I think I'm gonna say future endeavor.
You're fired!
All right. I wonder if that's going to be a, what's the word? Controversial rating. I don't know where this lands, if this is like cult following kind of game or if this just kind of fell under the radar.
I don't know. No one really talks about this game.
Yeah.
And Georgie?
All right. I don't really know where to start. You pretty much hit all of the same points that I felt like. I'm a big fan of those caricatures of wrestlers. It was cool with the split screen, but like you said, the controllers just left a lot to be desired. There is something slightly charming about it, though. Like it's just like, I think I'm gonna future endeavor it.
You're fired!
Yeah, I think I'm sticking with it.
Yeah. I don't think this is one of those games where I'm like, oh, screw this game. I don't like this game. I didn't get mad playing it, I don't think. You tell me. Let's listen back to our Clash at the Feast match. I don't know.
This wasn't like an instant no.
I think it's just the stuff that it lacks wouldn't make me go back to it.
Yeah, I think my main takeaway is the last couple of weeks we've played games and then I've wanted to continue playing that game. I don't feel that about this. Like there's no pull. Like we're not going to finish recording this and then I'm going to be like, you know what? I think I'm going to take a couple half hour or a couple extra minutes and just play through this a little bit further. There's no drive for that. I just don't feel that with this game.
I will say, if this was on, say, like an arcade cabinet and I had a joystick and just 2 buttons, I would be perfectly happy with it.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's just everything that it lacks leaves more to be desired. And because it is on Super Nintendo and because they did have the capability to do a little bit more with the controllers, if it was just simplified and if I didn't know that they could do more, I wouldn't expect more. I think I would like it a little better.
Jalico did make a lot of arcade cabinet games. They were making arcade cabinet games as early as 2000. They started in 1982 as their first arcade cabinet, and they went all the way up until 2000. And then, unfortunately, they declared bankruptcy in May of 2014. But they started as arcade cabinets, and they moved over to the MSX and NES, and we're making games all the way up until the Xbox and the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, you can definitely see like the arcade aspect. It's kind of a little Saturday Night Slam Masters like, the visually.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. It's still a cool game. I still think everyone should at least check it out once, if you can. just to see the different dynamic between the screens and all that and how they tried to advance it. That's the part I liked, so give it a shot. Let us know what you think. And with that, Georgie, do we want to get into Clash at the Feast?
Let's do it. Play that music.
All right, so you could check this out on our YouTube channel coming this week. Maybe we'll make it a little Christmas gift for everyone. Let's drop it on Christmas morning. How about that?
Sounds great.
So you were Alpha Bozak, who in other words was Hawk, and I chose Great Max, who was Great Muda, because I played as him earlier, and I really liked the dreaded spin kick. This one was not a long back and forth battle. This was pretty much just George missing a drop kick, me putting him in an armbar over and over again, until I finally we just fell down together and I just pinned him and it was 1, 2, 3. I think the whole thing was maybe 5 minutes. And with that, I'm making my way back up. It is now 11-6. Play my music.
This will be a short-lived victory. I want you to know that. I'm coming back next week.
Yeah, are you?
Little distracted with the holidays. Just know that next week, I will be in the right headspace because next week on this podcast, we are playing the game of all games. The one that started it all. We are playing Pro Wrestling for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Ooh, I got chills.
That John Cena shirt coming for you.
Well, George, when we play that game, I just want to let you know, a winner is me.
Wow. Okay. I see what you're doing here. You're trying to get in the head. It's not going to happen, Clash. It's not going to happen. That's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks podcast. Don't forget to...
Whoa. Georgie?
You okay?
You are missing a key part that we forgot to talk about. And that is the results of Gamebury 2019.
How could I forget?
So Gamebury kicked off on November 13th, and we had the hopes and dreams that you would donate to our website, where every cent will go directly towards St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. The results of that, we were able to accumulate $733.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Now, Cohen Children's Medical Center, we were trying to get games for them. It was a little bit more difficult because it is a hospital. We couldn't get used games for obvious reasons. And they didn't have the most up-to-date consoles. So we had to get them more Xbox 360 and like PS2 and all that. We were able to bring them 31 games and 3 controllers. And when we brought this to Cohen's, just the smile that the rep there was giving us and how excited they were, and the kids will love these. They each have one in their room. So just knowing that we were able to do that is honestly like, this couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah, it was unreal. Thank you to absolutely everyone who contributed.
So, what we were able to give back to you, the listeners, the names will be drawn this week. So please check your emails, check your messages. We're going to tell you what you won. We're going to ask for your address. We're going to send it out hopefully within the next week or two, probably when the holidays are over. We were able to get every donor's name on GameMarksPod.com, which is up there right now. 8 pairs of controller grips. 6 Game Marks Pod swag giveaways, which we have a nice little swag pack ready for you. A Chris Statlander signed WWE 2K20 PlayStation 4 game. A Game Drunks episode where me and George will maybe go shot for shot every time we read something. I don't know. We have to think of
we'll
what
figure it
we're
out.
gonna do. But we will be a little silly. One interview with a donor on an episode. So we're gonna choose one of the people that donated, and they will be our special guests for the podcast. We will be doing a 6-hour live stream somewhere in the future to donate even more. So while we sit there for 6 hours, holding in our pee, trying to figure out how we're going to get food.
I mean,
We're
there's
gonna
two
have a
of
little-
us. We could probably switch off and like you hold down the fort while I go and pee, and then I'll hold down the fort while you go.
But we will have a donate button on our screen where we could donate even more to this cause. We have one signed WWE action figure to give away, which is in my possession as we speak. It is to the left of me, and it's pretty cool. We have a No Holds Barred watch-along episode, which neither of us have seen, and a Ready to Rumble watch-along episode, which we've both seen many times.
You know, technically, No Holds Barred is a Christmas movie.
Ooh, so we could get this done this week.
Because why would you have a regular Christmas when you could have a No Holds Barred Christmas?
Ooh, I like that. So that is what every one of you will win. If you have donated even $1, you will be entered to win any of the previous prizes we just named. So be on the lookout this week because we're going to contact all the winners. Now, Georgie, back to what you were saying.
All right, so now that I'm not being so rudely interrupted, that is going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to us wherever great podcasts can be found. Happy holidays, everybody. Say goodbye, Johnny.
Game over, Marks.